Can one company deliver on a commitment to every person in Michigan? Count on it. Count on Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan to be there for our members and for everyone across Michigan. Every day, in every zip code, we're committed to our Michigan communities. At free clinics, offering help to those in need. At schools, teaching kids healthier habits. All over Michigan, we're making a difference because this is our home too. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. Confidence comes with every card.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Weekly with Wheatley here at Woodbridge Pub. Coach Tyrone Wheatley joins me as he does every week. Coach, have a couple of weeks to talk about, a couple of steps in the right direction. I know the scoreboard didn't reflect maybe what you wanted it to, but I thought the Ferris game, through all the weirdness and adversity you had to go through with that one, and the Davenport game, there was a step in the right direction. Obviously didn't get the result. What did you see over those last 2 weeks?
Well, when you talk about a step in the right direction, we're talking about playing complementary football. In the beginning, we played really well in the second half, but not in the first half. But we're starting to switch now. We're coming out playing well in the first half. And it's kind of switching back and forth. Special teams, defense is playing better. We're keeping the defense off the field. But it's just being able to put an entire game together, and we're getting there.
Well, when we talk about the Ferris game, I'm sure there's people at home that want to know what the back end of that was like, because not too often you see a college game get suspended and restarted the next day. What was that like for you as a coach from that perspective, getting ready, going home, trying to look over the film maybe you already had, and getting ready to restart the game on a Sunday morning?
Well, I mean, really when you think about it, it's really not anything to think about. It's just what your mind is already capable and what it's used to. And like you said, sit down, watch the film, get the guys ready, send them home, and get planned for tomorrow and come out and play. So really you don't think about it. You don't make a big fuss about it. It is what it is, right? You just make do with it and you go through it.
After the last two games, as we said, a step forward. Where on film, where can you tangibly say, hey, this is where we got better? Maybe it's a position group, maybe it's a statistic. Where have you noticed the biggest improvement over the last 2 weeks?
Well, right now we're preaching do your job. And guys are getting better at doing their job. Not trying to do everybody else's, but doing theirs, right? An old coach once said, if you're on fries, be on fries, right? You can't make the burgers and the fries, but we're doing better there. But now we just have to get better at being technically sound, and then, like we say, matching the intensity. But we're getting better in those two, in that area first, and I think that's in the right direction.
I don't want to say this is an improvement because this young man's been playing really well the whole season, but I thought the last 2 weeks since we last talked, Carl Ware has been unbelievable for you guys. He has a GLIAC Defensive Player of the Week award in there, and then he followed it up with another spectacular performance at Davenport. How much does that help to know you have a guy like that in the middle of your defense that is going to make plays and be a difference maker for you guys?
Well, let's go back to doing your job, right? In the beginning, Carl was all over the place. He was trying to do everything for everyone. And you know the old adage, see a little, see a lot, right? Mm-hmm. Put the blinders on and just go do your job. And once he started doing that, that's when the plays started coming around, right? When he just started focusing on making sure he was doing what he was supposed to do, being where he was supposed to be, and fall into the plays. The plays just come right to you. And he's comfortable, right? He doesn't feel like he has to do everything. And going back to it, you don't have to do everything, just do what you're supposed to do. And he's putting trust in the defensive line and the other backers and the corners and safeties, and they're playing really well right now.
When we talked earlier in the season, a big theme we discussed was getting off to that slow start and the here we go again mentality. At least over the last couple of games, that mentality hasn't been there. You've actually gotten off to pretty decent starts, whether it be the restarted game against Ferris State or against Davenport. You had them on the ropes early, but it's now continuing that and finishing. From your perspective, what's that like, maybe shifting the focus from the coaching staff and taking that next step, trying to get 4 quarters together?
Well, it just goes back to, we talked about this a little earlier in the show, was production. You don't have a lot of production coming back. A lot of our guys are young, right? They might be juniors, but they're young and playing years. And so when you have people that are without the experience, when you get in those tough situations, they get a little, like you say, whoa, here it go again, but also the deer in the headlights look. And they have to match the intensity, and don't worry about it, but just go out and play. And not worry so much about how the outcome is, but just continue to just do what you're supposed to do. And I know people are going to get tired of this, but just do your job, and then turns into doing your job to dominate your job.
I know there's an old cliche of when you get to the end of the season, that back quarter of the season, hey, the sophomores need to play like juniors, the juniors need to play like seniors. At what point do you see that progression? Is it something that does happen during the season, or for you guys, is that something that maybe in the off season when they get more acclimated, that's when you expect them to take that next step?
No, right now you start the progression. Like you say, we start pushing it. Right now we're starting to get some of the freshmen ready because some of the guys still have 3 games to play. Mm-hmm. So we're starting to get them ready and getting them in that mode of now, hey, you're progressing. You're no longer a freshman. You're moving into your sophomore year with these 3 games. So, yes, you are pushing that because that goes into a huge evaluation as you go into the spring, because you need to understand what you're missing and what you need to replace and what you need to develop as you're going into the off season. So it is growing, and these guys are getting the production, and they are growing.
Who are maybe some of those young guys that you have seen mature and it clicked maybe a little earlier than the average cat?
Wow. Xavier Tyus, he's playing really well. Rashawn McGee, I mean, he's the oldest young guy on the team, but he has done a really great job with that. And, we have Makai Guy, who hasn't played a lot, but he's also one who's growing into his own, who's maturing into a leadership role.
And Roshan mentioned him. He's one that stands out from the press box. It's a little different watching it in real time than going back and meticulously combing through the footage. But Roshan was one guy that at least I can say I've seen. He stood out to me. And Makai is one of those freshmen, and I know you and the whole coaching staff really loves this true freshman class. Talked about a lot of the leadership and that even if they're not playing out there on the field right now, that they're saying, hey, in scout team, they're showing up and they're showing out. What has that been like for this freshman class with guys like Makai and some others that have been sprinkled in throughout the season, but you're trying to preserve that red shirt, so that's why you've maybe only seen them in a game here or there?
Well, the next portion of building a team and getting it to where you need foundational players. You need players that you can build your foundation on, so when the next group of guys come in, they've already attested to the culture, development, and holding people where they need to be. So those guys are doing a great job. And they call it working while they wait, right? They're working, but they're waiting. And once it turns for them, and we talked about production, right? So when they're at practice and when they're doing the scout teams, they're producing and they're doing those things on scout teams. So now when it's game time, it's nothing new to them.
Well, Coach, I appreciate it. We'll let you go get some food here at Woodbridge Pub. We'll talk to you about Saginaw Valley and homecoming in a bit.
Thank you.
We are live here at Woodbridge Pub, and if you're looking for a cozy spot in Detroit with great vibes and even better food, come on down to Woodbridge Pub. Located in the heart of historic Woodbridge neighborhood, known for its delicious, locally sourced menu and craft cocktails, it's the perfect spot for a casual night out or weekend fun. Whether you're relaxing on the patio, enjoying live music, or catching up with friends, Woodbridge Pub is your go-to for a true Detroit experience. Stop by today and taste what makes Woodbridge Pub a local favorite. Here on Weekly with Wheatley, now joined by Wayne State offensive coordinator Russell DeMasi. Coach, always glad to talk with you. It's been about a year since we've talked on this, but we've been in contact over there at Tom Adams Field. I guess for you, let's start with this. Offense starting to find a little bit more of a rhythm this year. Where have you seen the progression from week 1 to now here getting ready for homecoming?
Like you said earlier, it's about those young guys that are starting to play in games, get more experience, and become more well-versed in, if this happens, what should I do? We only returned really 4 guys that played a bunch. So it's a lot of new guys learning the system and really understanding what we want out of them. But I think each week, as Coach says, we're just learning to do our job and worrying about ourselves so that our brother can count on us. And I think the more people we get to do that, the better we're going to get each week. Cut short a little bit last week. We had a quarterback injury, but I thought the guys that came in a little bit unsettled at first, settled down towards the end, got a score in the middle of the third quarter to make it a 3-point game. But the expectation is next man up whenever anybody goes down. And I look forward to seeing those guys who need to step up this week, make plays on Saturday. With
guys having to step up, you talked about the turnover from last year. at multiple stops, not just here at Wayne State for you, how long does it take for this offense for it to click, for everything to really be moving? Because it is an offense when everything's going really well, you see like a drive like you had to start off the game, but maybe when this offense isn't, it gets cut short. How long does it take for the offense and guys for usually to click for them?
You said it earlier. When a guy starts to get into his 5th, 6th, 7th game, we expect him to start playing like he's a sophomore or he's a junior or that next year where he's developed. So, again, those guys I think you're starting to see that happen over the last 2 weeks. We came back out from the rain delay in Ferris and put together a few good drives. Davenport, we were, rolling in the first half. Don't want to finish with field goals, want to finish with touchdowns, but we were moving the football up and down the field. Now it comes when it gets into that high red area, that 40-yard line and in. We've got to start to really man up, become more physical, and really hold people off. And I really think that now, after these, first 6, 7 games, you really start to see that improvement and see guys understanding, like we said, if this happens, what should I do? And I think we saw that the last 2 weeks, and I really hope that we take a step forward Saturday as well.
We'll talk to the young man I'm about to ask you about in a minute, Champion Edwards. After Justin Cox went down, it kind of became his show. And last year, and even the start this year, you're not afraid to rotate guys in, but you gave the keys to the car to Champion, and you've seen the improvement week over week. What about it with him has it really clicked for him? It seems like the game's slowing down for him, and he's the type of guy that even when something goes wrong, he can make something out of it.
Yep. Like you said, he's going into his 4th, 5th game, and I think that's where you saw the maturation of him over these last 2 weeks and making the right decisions, play in and play out. This is a decision-based offense, right? Every play, there's something in his hands that he's got to make a read, whether it be in the pass game or in the run game. Making sure he's protected in the pass game. There's a lot of choices and decisions, and I think the last 2 weeks he's done a really good job. But coming in and only getting here a day before camp started, I could tell how badly he wanted to learn the offense, get better, understand the intricacies of it, and really that experience has really helped him grow more and more and more. But I mean, from early on in camp, we knew he was a guy that mentally and physically he could do what we were asking of him. Now it's just about him getting those reps, not making the same mistakes twice, and when he gets an opportunity to make a play by doing his job, making that play.
Who are some of the other guys that you've seen step up? I know Coach Wheatley mentioned a couple, but from your perspective, who have you seen go, this is a completely different ball player than we had in August? Yeah.
No, I think 2 guys are out wide are Miles and Joe Sean. We look for ways to try and get them the football. A lot of the times, because of how we run it, they're matched up one-on-one, and we want to give them the opportunity to go make the play, whether that be quick game or down the field with the ball in their hands. I think both of those guys are pretty special. And more so Miles when the ball is in the air and Joe Sean after he catches it. They kind of bring 2 different skill sets. Up front, we've been really happy with Tyler Shumpert and Charles Wesley, 2 older guys that have been in the offense. Tyler's obviously a senior, and Charles has 1 more year. But they're leaders vocally, and that's something we really need within the offense. We need guys more to step up and say, hey, we need you to do your job. We need you to be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there to really make us go. And I think they've done a tremendous job battling injuries and really playing tough physical football for the most part of the year. And then the running back room, Coach mentioned Tyus. He's done a great job at pushing those older guys that are ahead of him. But Sterling, has been a big short yardage back for us, and Marco's coming to his own. Needs to continue to focus every single snap and make sure he understands what he needs to do and not try and do more than he's asked to do. But overall, we've got a great group of guys. Now we want them. What we see Monday through Thursday, we want them to show that on Saturday. And I think that's the biggest thing we're preaching to them is you guys are putting the work in and day out. Now it's time to go show people what we're working on Saturdays consistently, right? Not just in the first half, not just in the second half, but from snap 1 to snap 70, we want to see their best. And I think we're getting there. Obviously, it's never fast enough for a coach, but we got to continue to push these guys, continue to develop them, and I think we'll see more and more out of them the rest of the year.
One of the first guys you mentioned with Miles McCatherine out at receiver, in the last couple of games, you've kept it simple where you said, all right, we're going to throw a jump ball to him, and we're going to let him be an athlete. As a coach, and I know sometimes you can get so in the weeds that you're so broken down with film, how often do you have to just take a step back and go, all right, we're just going to let our dudes be dudes, and you did it in the Ferris State game. He basically got you 50 yards and a touchdown by himself. You tried it against Davenport. How do you balance that as a coach where you go, hey, sometimes I need to get out of my own head and just take a step back and say, we've got pretty darn good athletes. Let's let them go be athletes.
Yeah, well, I've always heard it's never been about the plays, it's been about the players. It's who's going to end up with the ball in this play. Now, in the option game, in the option world, that's kind of tough to handle sometimes, right? But I think these last couple of weeks, especially with the injuries we've had, we've said, hey, we've got to find ways to get our best players the football, and Miles is one of them, right? And kind of what we pride ourselves on in offense is finding ways to get our guys in one-on-one matchups, our best guys in one-on-one matchups, and just giving the opportunity to go make the play. Now, we need to continue to get better technically so that when we're in that position to make a play that we do make it. But you're starting to see, I think, more and more that when a guy is one-on-one, whether that be a running back, a receiver, a quarterback, or a tight end, they're starting to make the play more often. And I think the more opportunities we get those guys, the best players with the football, the better off we're going to be.
So, Coach, as we wrap this up, I do want to tell a story and congratulate you because you are a newly minted father during the season. Congratulations to Coach DeMasi. But the way I found out, so you were when you're over there, you are locked in and focused. So for those that don't know, every Tuesday I come down and I record the interviews that you hear on the radio on Saturday. And usually I'll pop in and try to talk to all the coaches. Well, I go down to the offensive meeting and I'm looking and go, hey, where's Coach DeMasi? He goes, oh, he's with his wife. I go, oh, is everything good? He goes, yeah, he had a kid yesterday. And I was like, he was at practice today? Yeah. Well, it was about 12 hours left. So, and then you made the trip down to Truman State that Saturday. What was that week like for you? Because, hey, I know you get over there, you're locked in, but, hey, everyone understands the family side of it. What was that week like for you?
It's kind of twofold. Obviously, it's difficult being a new father and not being able to be with your daughter at all times, right? You want to be there. You want to make sure your wife's doing good. You want to make sure she's eating right, sleeping right, doing all the things to help her be healthy and grow. But at the same time, I feel like I'm a father to all the guys on offense, right? Every guy you coach, you want to be there for them. And, I feel like every year I've coached, I feel like I have 110, 120, whatever the roster number is, kids. I have a responsibility to them as well. Obviously, it'd be hard to be away from the wife and the daughter, but no better group of guys to be around and make me feel at home and make sure everything is going on right at home than the guys we have in the locker room and the coaching staff. So it was a difficult process, but I believe just because the guys we had, it made it a lot easier than what a lot of people would think. So.
And how about a shout out to Mom and Mrs. DeMasi for holding down the fort while you took the trip to Missouri? Yeah. That's an all-star wife right there.
No, she's a rock star. I mean, she's been doing it by herself for 12, 13 hours a day while we're at the office at least 4 or 5 days a week. Obviously get to be there a little bit more on game day and on Sunday, but man, she holds down the fort. She's got dinner ready when I get home. The baby's changed. She's taking a shower. There's not much for me to do other than feed the baby when we wake up in the middle of the night because I want to do my part in this, right? And when I'm home, I'm going to be taking care of the baby as much as I can. But man, she makes sure that child wants for nothing and is well taken care of and takes care of me in the same process. So she's really taking care of 2 kids right now, and I couldn't be more happy with them for how she's handled this whole situation.
Well, we appreciate it. Thanks for taking some time out for coming out and talking to us, and good luck on Saturday.
Yep, appreciate it. Thank you.
We are now joined by Wayne State starting quarterback Champion Edwards. Champion, thanks so much for taking some time out. I'm sure everyone's excited to hear from the starting quarterback.
Yeah, man. Hey, thanks. Thank you. I'm glad to be a part of this, man. This is awesome.
So let's start. Before we talk about anything here on the field, let's talk about how you got here, because you're a West Coast kid.
Yes, sir.
You're not from Detroit. How did you end up here? I know you went the JUCO route. Tell everyone at home how Champion Edwards ended up a Wayne State Warrior.
Out of high school, I played my high school ball in Utah. But out of high school, I got recruited by Wheatley. I ended up getting an offer from Idaho State as a receiver. And so I ended up taking that route. Didn't really have the best of time there, so I ended up going JUCO. Went to El Camino College in Los Angeles, California. Did my time there, and at the end of the season, got a call from Wheatley saying I'm still one of their recruits, and made a decision to come here.
So how much different is it going to college in the middle of Idaho compared to Detroit? And second of all, what is the JUCO route like? Because I know people may have seen Last Chance U, seen shows like that. How accurate or how maybe inaccurate are things like that?
Well, I mean, for one, living in Idaho, there's not much going on there, But the JUCO route, it really is a grind, It's sort of every man for themselves, and Last Chance U is it's pretty similar to what actually goes on in junior college, especially with California. Most schools don't have dorms, and unlike other states, California junior college, there's no scholarships, so it's not like you're getting paid for it. So it's definitely a grind, it's definitely a struggle, but it's fun. Made some of some of my best friends there, some good people.
So you come from JUCO out here. Did you know you wanted to be a quarterback, especially once you left Idaho State, saying, hey, I'm going to be a quarterback wherever I end up? And once you got here, as Coach DeMasi alluded to, you got here right before camp gets started. How's that transition like, coming in saying, hey, I'm a quarterback now and I'm fighting for a starting spot and I'm learning everything about this brand new place?
Well, I've played quarterback all my life. It's really all I know. And my decision to play receiver, I wanted to see if I can give something another chance, give something another try. But I ended up just going back to my roots. I feel more comfortable as a quarterback. I am a quarterback. And I appreciate Coach Wheatley and his staff for giving me a chance to show who I truly am, which is a quarterback in this offense.
Well, I think the offense is pretty well tailored to your skill set. The one thing that is so fun to watch with you is, hey, you might get stopped for a yard gain 3 straight plays, and then play number 4 is out the gate and it's a big run. How has it been in this offense? Because you don't see this offense too much around the country in college football. How have you fit into it?
Well, I mean, I feel like it's more suited to my abilities. I mean, I'm pretty fast. I like to run. To my strong suits. I also like to pass as well. But, this offense is fun. I've had a really great time being here and being able to show everyone my abilities.
So did you have any idea what Detroit was about or what Wayne State was before Coach Wheatley brought you here and you got boots on the ground here? Or what did you know about here before you got here?
Honestly, I didn't know much at all. I knew Coach DeMasi, I knew Coach Wheatley, I knew a little bit of the staff, but this is my first time being in Detroit, first time being in Michigan. One of the few times of me being on the East Coast. So this is all very new for me. I'm taking it in. It's awesome, though.
So that has to be a heck of a recruiting pitch to say, hey, come 3 time zones over to a place you've never been to and trust us that we're going to get you where you need to go. That must have been a heck of a sales pitch from Coach Wheatley, Coach DeMasi, and the rest of the coaching staff.
I feel like we all just wanted the same things, everything I wanted in coaching staff, they were it. So I'm not opposed to making big changes, big jumps. So this is kind of a no-brainer for me.
What's it been like acclimating to Detroit? What's something that you didn't expect once you got here that you learned about in your short time being here?
Man, one of the hardest things for me have been watching all these sports games. Everything is so late. And I'm so used to, basketball starting around 5, NFL games starting around 10. Everything starts at 1 and 7 and 8 here. It's kind of hard watching the games.
Yeah, those 9 o'clock starts, those 8:30 starts make for some long nights, especially when you have to get up for practice or lift early in the morning. So you get here on campus a day before camp starts. Obviously there's got to be some nerves, a brand new place. You don't know hardly anybody here, and you're gunning to be QB1. How quickly did you feel like in the locker room and with the team that you started to gel and fit in and got yourself ready and acclimated to this program?
Well, this is not my first rodeo. I've been a part of a few teams, had to, move and meet new people. So it was pretty easy for me, acclimating with the team. I feel like it was only like a week before we all started to gel. It started to, really feel like home.
Coach DeMasi mentioned that he thought you've taken a few big steps forward, weeks 3, 4, and 5, that once you really started to get it going, that the game was slowing down for you. Personally, where have you seen the growth, or was there a moment where it started to click where you're like, oh, okay, I get why this is happening now, and you could see it in real time, you elevate your game?
For me, it's all about repetition. And just with all the games that we've played, we're about 7 games in, just every game, just, fixing my mistakes, make sure I'm not making the same mistake twice. And, seeing all these different defenses, seeing all the looks, it's starting to become slower for me. It's starting to become easier.
So I know Coach DeMasi, he's very well spoken when you get a nice microphone in front of him in a crowd. What's he like in that coach's room? Because I know there's a few different versions of coaches. There's the ones you get on the field in the film room, and the ones when they're recruiting you and out in public.
Oh, no, DeMasi's the same. He's a great guy. He's a good guy, man.
So, champion, as we finish this up, I always like to highlight, also here getting a degree, where you want to go with that. I know, hey, you're one of the younger guys on the team. What are you hoping to study, or what are you studying, and what do you hope to do with that when you're done with football?
Well, I'm a communications major, and, communications is a very broad major. You can do a lot of different things with it. So I'm hoping to go into maybe the journalism side of it, maybe the entertainment side of it, working backstage, possibly working on news broadcasts, things like that.
Well, champion, I appreciate that. Thanks, and good luck the rest of the way. Stay healthy.
Yeah, thank you.
The inaugural Wayne State University Athletics Champions Classic was a success this past July, and we're bringing it back. The second annual Champions Classic will be held on Monday, July 18th, 2025 at TPC Michigan in Dearborn. Again, that's Monday, July 28th, 2025, the date of the second annual WSU Athletics Champion Classic. Coach Tyrone Wheatley joins us once again as we look forward to a homecoming matchup with Saginaw Valley, a Saginaw Valley team that just went toe-to-toe with Grand Valley up in Saginaw last Saturday. Talking to you and the other coaches earlier in the week, the thing that kept coming up with Saginaw is their defense is really solid and their front seven is physical.
Well, yeah, we talked about production, right? They're returning a whole entire crew. Talk about the front seven. Let's talk about these linebackers. They get after it. They're physical. They know where they're supposed to be, and they keep it simple for those guys where they could just go play. As we say, pin the ears back and go play, right? Go hunt, and that's what they do really well.
So this is a Saginaw team that, while they lost this past week, they're going to come in hungry. They know they have to basically be perfect for their playoff lives. But this was a team last year that you guys went to overtime with, had a chance to win at the end of regulation. How much of a measuring stick game is this for you to see, okay, after 7 weeks, where are we at? Can we compete with a team that has playoff hopes? Can we beat a team that has playoff hopes and maybe spoil their season?
Well, once again, you really don't want to look at what they're doing. It's all about us and how we play and what we want to do and how we want to grow. But speaking on them, yes, they do have some things they want to accomplish, right? Like you say, playoff hopes. And then at the same time, they went over overtime with us last year. So they don't want to make it close. They're going to come in. It's our homecoming. They want to be the spoiler and all those type of things. But we have to wash all that out and just concentrate on getting the game, playing our game, playing complementary football, being physical, and coming out with the win.
I know depending on where you go, what programs and what level you're at, some coaches like homecoming. Some coaches think homecoming, can distract from the actual football side of it. How has it been getting prepared for homecoming here at Wayne State, your second time with your go-around?
Well, I mean, homecoming, it's a necessary evil, right? You get the people coming back. Guys haven't been back, men and women haven't been on campus for years. You get them back, the nostalgia, getting everything right. The crowd is there. It's a great deal, but for us, it really doesn't affect us because we're kind of isolated, insulated from it. It's not like we're on campus going through all the activities. We're isolated on field, and just think of football.
I think the one thing you mentioned is it's the opportunity to show to a lot of the alumni what the program is. Hey, a lot of guys, whether it's from out of state or from a long ways away, will say, all right, we're going to come to homecoming every year and see how the program's at. And I think it's a nice opportunity for you guys to show the alumni exactly what Wayne State football is now.
Absolutely. They get a chance to see where we were last year to this year, the growth, and just seeing the growth. Although the record may not show the growth, but they have to understand, they have to see it, and they'll get a chance to witness it and be electric for us, right? Be that 12th man.
Well, we mentioned Saginaw Valley's defense. Let's talk about their offense. Hasn't been quite as high scoring. In their 2 losses, held to single digits. The 7 against Northwood and the 9 against Grand Valley. How important is it to not let an offense that's maybe struggling a little bit take a couple steps forward, because if they can score, they usually win the game?
Well, you know what? You hit it right on the head, man. Like, they've been struggling, and they're trying to find their stride. They're trying to get back on track, and hopefully we can keep them in the rut where they are. But at the same time, we have to get our pass rush on. The quarterback is a phenomenal guy. Like, he puts the ball where it needs to go, and they rely on him. But if we can kind of slow him down a little bit and get him off his track, and the receivers, once again, they're returning production, right? They've been together. They know each other. It's a system. It's a rhythm. And so if we could just get them off their rhythm, get them off the rocker, we'll be okay.
So from the Wayne State perspective, let's start on offense because, again, had a nice start to the game. First play was a service academy drive. It was 75 yards, like 18 plays, took up half the quarter. Is that something that you're hoping to replicate, get the ball and just eat up the clock, work down the field and score? Or do you like to maybe go on defense first against the team that has a struggling offense?
Well, you know what? That's one of the things. It's a little bit of a tactical thing, but don't want to talk about it too much. But as the time progresses, we'll kind of figure that out.
All right, defensively, I know that we talked about that points-wise when they've struggled. Now they've faltered and they've taken their 2 losses. But you said their quarterback's very solid. They're not a bad team. They're not a bad offense by
Absolutely
any means.
not.
So defensively, what do you need to do to keep them at a low total and give your offense a chance to put up some points and win this game?
Well, he is good with his arm, but what he does a great job is finding once the passing lanes open up and the receivers are locked down. He does a great job of taking those passing lanes and turning them into run lanes and picking up extra yardage. So we have to contain him in that regard, right? On the back end, in terms of receivers and DBs, we cannot allow them to get the big plays, which they're infamous for. They're infamous for the big play, getting it when they need it, and we have to shut those guys down in that area. And then really, at the end of the day, it's just play our football, right? Don't let them recycle their playbook through and through.
And offensively, going back to their stout front seven, their linebackers that are so strong, I'd say when you're playing an offense like Wayne State, you're going to lean heavily on your linebackers to make the right read and be where you need to. What's something that you guys can do without giving away any trade secrets to maybe counteract that and put them in a no-win situation?
Well, first of all, you have to run the ball, right? You have to run the ball, and if they're going to be out there that long and they want to play physical football, then you have to match it. And then, I mean, it's no secret, right? It's play, action, pass. It's no secret. I mean, if yay tall, you play Madden football, it is what it is, right? So, but at the end of the day, we just have to match their physicality. And that's really, truly where it lies at. It's nothing tactical. It has to do anything with scheme. As you talked about, it's the X's and O's. I mean, it's not the X's and O's, it's Jimmy's and Joe's. Our Joes have to be able to go out and take a punch, deliver a punch, but keep fighting and withstand their blows.
Well, you basically answered over the last 7-8 minutes, but just to wrap this up in a nice little bow, keys to a Wayne State victory here on homecoming.
Well, once again, play complementary football. We have to put 2 quarters together, right? In the beginning of the year, we started off second half. Now we're starting off first half, faltering first, but we have to put 2 quarters together. Special teams, can't falter special teams. No bad snaps, no block punts. Well, we didn't get a pop punt, getting backed into the punter. So just special teams, complementary football, all 3 phases have to be on point.
Coach, I appreciate it. Thank you, and good luck against Saginaw Valley.
Thank you very much.
He's head coach Tyrone Wheatley. I'm Brady Beedon, and we'll be back in 2 weeks with another edition of Weekly with Wheatley live from Woodbridge Pub.
Michigan First Credit Union is a proud sponsor of Wayne State Athletics. With a custom-built mobile app and 2 branches and 10 ATMs located on or near campus, Michigan First makes banking easy and convenient. And we're proud to serve our communities all across Metro Detroit. Michigan First. Experience banking undefined. For details, visit MichiganFirst.com. Go Warriors!